Okay, folks, it is 5:30. We're going to give some people a couple more minutes before we get started. So just hang tight and we'll get started here in just a minute. Okay, so welcome to this evening's Davie County session of the Davie, Surrey, and Yadkin County Regional Comprehensive Transportation Plan Public Workshop Presentation. This meeting will be saved and recorded and available online until August 30th on the Northwest Piedmont RPO website, as well as NCDOT websites, which will be made available later. A couple of housekeeping notes before we get started. If you would, please sign in using the chat bubble icon on the right of your screen. Just your first name is sufficient. At any point during this presentation you have questions or comments, please feel free to email them to me, Carter Spradling, at cspradling@ptrc.org. Questions and comments can also be submitted through the chat function. Please visit the address listed in item D to provide additional input regarding the material that you're about to consume. And I'll put a link to that website in the chat box in just a second. Copies of all materials may be found at the Northwest Piedmont RPO website, which is listed in front of you. All of the presentations are pre-recorded, and questions and comments will be addressed at the end of the presentation. So please don't try to ask a question while the presentation is proceeding. I'm going to stop sharing my screen just for a second to get you the link to the polling software. And then the next thing that you'll hear is the presentation by Ruben Crummy, who is a transportation engineer with North Carolina DOT and the Transportation Planning Division. The next voice you'll hear is Michael Abuya, who is also a transportation engineer of the NCDOT and the Transportation Planning Division. Michael will be going over highway and transit plans in the CTP. Then you'll hear from Ruben and his presentation for bicycle and pedestrian facilities. I'm Carter Spradling. I am the director of the Northwest Piedmont RPO and a regional planner at the Piedmont Triad Regional Council. We'll start with a breakdown of what a CTP actually is from Michael. And as discussed, we'll have questions and comments at the end of the presentation. So there's a link to the polling software in the chat box now, if you'd like to participate in that. Folks that are watching this as a recording, feel free to type in that web address and participate. It will be available until August 30th as well.
Welcome to today's public workshop. The workshop is going to focus on Davie County as part of Davie, Surrey, and Yadkin Counties Regional Comprehensive Transportation Plan. My name is Michael Abuya, project engineer for this CTP study. Today's discussion topics will include CTP study overview, a brief presentation on what is a CTP, why do we need a CTP, where are we in the study process, and what will we be doing next. Following that, we are going to look at study analysis and results. Within that study analysis and results, we are going to look at traffic volumes. We are going to look at safety. We are going to look at public survey. Then finally, we are going to look at the recommendations of the study. Recommendations are going to focus on highway, transit and rail, bicycle, and pedestrian modes of transportation. What is a CTP? The acronym CTP stands for Comprehensive Transportation Plan. A CTP is a long-range plan that covers 20 to 30 years or 25 to 30 years into the future. In this case, the future year is 2045, 25 years from now. A CTP is multimodal, meaning it covers the following modes of transportation: roadways, bicycles, pedestrians, transit, which includes bus and rail. It is data-driven, is also derived from local plans. It takes into account community input. It's also guided by statewide goals. The CTP study is locally driven. Before the study begins, steering committee is put together. The steering committee includes county managers, county commissioners, town managers, planners, MCDU personnel, and RTO planners. It is important to note that CTP recommendations are concepts, and any improvements will go through a rigorous environmental process before final alignments or designs can be determined. Why do we need a CTP? A CTP is required by state regulations. General Statute 136-66.2. A CTP determines alternatives to address transportation needs. Then these needs get refined and later implemented into projects. A CTP is the first step in the process of a project or a transportation project. A CTP gives a common long-range vision for facilities between NCDOT, MPOs, RPOs, and local governments. It offers a better integration of land use with transportation planning. Where are we now in the study process for this CTP? The initial step for the CTP development was to develop a vision. We held meetings, we developed community vision, and also goals and objectives for the CTP. We then moved to system assessment. Under this, we assembled the base year data which included transportation network, included historical traffic data over the years. We also pulled in population data over the years and projected those into the future. We then moved to analyze alternative solutions to project needs or transportation needs within the region. To help with that, we also went out and contacted the community. We sent out a public survey, community survey, transportation survey for that matter, that asked questions that are connected to traffic movements, problem with transportation, safety concerns, and any other transportation concern. What are we doing next? Beyond CTP vision, system assessment, alternatives analysis, we'll also develop a final plan in which we will seek mutual agreement. Then we'll complete the plan. Once it is completed, then we'll seek adoption first, a local adoption by the towns, the counties, the RPO, and then finally the Board of Transportation in Raleigh. This slide shows the extent of the CTP study boundary. The CTP study covers 3 counties, Davie County, Surrey County, and Yadkin County. We will also be conducting 3-day virtual workshops, 1 day for each county. Today's workshop is for Davie County. Then tomorrow we will conduct a workshop for Surrey County. Then the day after, we will conduct a workshop for Yadkin County. Existing traffic analysis, base year 2017. We assembled the historical traffic data over the years up to 2017. Then we took those volumes and compared to a roadway daily carrying capacity of a given roadway segment. Then thereafter determined whether a roadway segment has congestion or has capacity deficiency. The legend here at the top left or the bottom left corner help us explain the map. 2017 volume at the top, capacity at the bottom. When the volume is about 79% and below of a roadway carrying capacity, that segment will say it is under capacity. When traffic volumes are 80% to 99% of a roadway carrying capacity, then the roadway segment will be considered near capacity. And when it is 100% and above of a roadway carrying capacity, then that roadway segment will be considered over capacity. Now zooming into Knoxville area, what do we see? Let's take a look along the 601 corridor, US 601 corridor. We see a red line beginning from Deadbond Road, going all the way to close to I-40 601 interchange. Majority of 601 is over capacity, save for this segment here that is near capacity. You can also see that US 158 from Gaither Street to Milling Road is near capacity. Here, daily traffic volumes are projected to 2045, and then compared to the same roadway carrying capacity, and then again determinations were made whether this roadway segment is near capacity, over capacity, or experiencing deficiency. Now we see that I-40 from Iredell County to US 64 and from Franklin Road to Rainbow Road is approaching capacity in 2045. Let's zoom in closer to see what happens. Take a closer look at US 601. 2045 projected traffic volumes indicate that US 601 from Fairfield Road to Coons, just south of I-40 interchange, will be mostly over capacity. It starts out by being or approaching capacity from Fairfield Road to Dedmond Road. Then from Dedmond Road to Coons, the majority of it will be over capacity by future year 2045. As for US 158 from Gaither Street to Milling Road, we see that it will continue to be near capacity. Next, we analyzed existing safety records. These are crash records covering the period between 2012 and 2016, which is a 4-year period. There are different locations. When we look at this legend here, there are locations that are 50 and above crashes. There are locations that are 49, 40 to 49, 31 to 39, 20 to 29, 10 to 19, and these are the colors that indicate, color and size of dots indicate the number of crashes in a given location. So those areas that are 20 or more crashes are I-40 and 601 interchange, where the indication is that the records indicate that there were 40 and above crashes. I-40 and 64, similarly, where there are 30 and above crashes. I-40 and Farmington Road, there are 20 and above crashes. Then 601 and Madison Street, Coons, Country Lane, there were 20 and above crashes. And then US 64 and NC 801, there were 20 and above crashes. Public survey results. On the question of safety concerns, here are some of the responses that came from a public survey conducted in 2019 through MetroQuest survey. Within the vicinities of I-40 and 601, safety concerns were registered. I-40 and Farmington Road, again safety concerns were registered. There were also safety concerns reported within downtown Moxville area. Then there were also a concern reported along US 64 and NC 801. On the question of traffic problems, here are some of the locations that were reported to be experiencing traffic problems. You can see that US 61 corridor, reports of traffic problems were registered. Farmington Road corridor, as you cross I-40, traffic problems were registered. Moxville downtown area, traffic problems were reported. Then as you go east towards Bermuda Run, again, traffic problems were reported. On the question of transit needs, the community dropped bus symbols, 2 bus symbols along I-40, and another one in Bermuda Run. And then there are also symbols along 601 going into Moxville. And along with those symbols is a sample comment from the public. Small buses that are on a fixed schedule around Moxville and into Winston-Salem are needed. Recommendations. These 4 key priorities guided the proposals and recommendations that are to address identified needs through 2045. Enhancing safety, resolving deficiencies, minimizing congestion, and increasing mobility. Looking at this map, I-40 from Iredell to 64 and from Farmington Road to Rainbow Road, which previously we saw to be approaching capacity by 2045. The recommendation is to widen to 3 lanes in each direction. The attributes currently of I-40. I-40 is an interstate, 4 lanes, 12 feet wide each, 70 miles per hour. The corridor is rural in nature. Traffic capacity is 54,700, and daily traffic volume or vehicles per day will be 45,000, and truck percentage 12%. It is projected to be near capacity by 2045. So the recommendation is to widen I-40 to 3 lanes in each direction. Similarly, we saw that US 601 through Moxville will be primarily over capacity through 2045. The recommendation is to build Moxville bypass. The attributes of 601 currently are that it is a major thoroughfare, 2 to 3 lanes along the corridor. There are 8 segments that are 11 foot wide. There are others that are 12 foot wide. The speed limit varies between 35 and 45 miles per hour. The area is from rural, suburban to urban. And the roadway capacity is 11,200 through 14,600 vehicles per day. Traffic volumes projected to 2045 will be 12,600 through 24,100. It is projected to be near or over capacity by 2045. So the recommendation is to build Moxville bypass. In addition, the recommendation is to build an interchange at US 64, US 601, Jericho Church Road, again US 64, and also an improvement at the current interchange between 601 and I-40. Bridges over Sanford Avenue and over the rail track, Norfolk Southern, are also recommended. US 158 is also projected to be near capacity in future, which is a congestion problem. The recommendation is to introduce access management by probably adding a left-hand lane at critical intersections. The current attributes of US 158 are: it is a major thoroughfare, 2 lanes, 12 feet wide, speed limit 35 miles per hour. The corridor is a suburban area. Capacity of that segment is 11,600 vehicles per day. And the traffic volume is projected to be near capacity by 2045. So the recommendation: improve access management by adding left-hand lanes at critical intersections. The rest of the recommendations, as represented by light blue lines, are modernizations. These may involve widening a road segment to 2 12-foot lanes with paved shoulders to help with safety, to accommodate bike routes, and to just increase the general movement or mobility of traffic within the area. Facility types map. This is a projection of the highway system by facility type. Its classification observes mobility and control of access. The facilities included in this map includes both existing and recommended solutions to transportation needs. As for transit recommendations, a regional bus route is proposed along I-40 corridor from Knoxville to Winston-Salem. That includes park and ride lot on US 601 north of I-40. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, so next we'll hear from Ruben Crummy to discuss pedestrian and bicycle plans for the CTP.
Hi, I am Ruben Crummy with the North Carolina Department of Transportation's Transportation Planning Division. We will continue onward with the draft bicycle and pedestrian element of the Davie County portion of the Davie, Surry, and Yadkin Regional CTP. The featured topics in this presentation will be a brief overview of bike and ped plans, the draft bike and ped CTPs, the project lists, additional projects, and then questions and/or comments. Introduction and overview. The North Carolina Department of Transportation provides an annual program called the Bicycle and Pedestrian Planning Grant Initiative, which allocates funding for municipalities across the state that apply for the grant and are selected in developing the requested comprehensive bicycle plans, pedestrian plans, or both plans. All North Carolina municipalities are eligible to apply. This program is sponsored by the department's Integrated Mobility Division, formerly the Division of Bicycle and Pedestrian Transportation, and the Transportation Planning Division, also known as TPD. Since 2004, approximately $6.5 million has been awarded through this program to 211 municipalities and 6 counties across the state. Recommendations. Davie County acknowledges 4 types of cyclists in their 2019 Davie County Bicycle and Pedestrian Planning process. Strong and fearless is less than 1%. Enthusiastic and confident, 7%. Interested but concerned is about 60%, in which the majority of issues are on safety and differing ways of biking and walking. And the last, no way, no how, which is about 33%, reflecting on the many who love their cars and would never ever leave the comfort and convenience of them. Full map of the regional CTP, there are 2 state bike routes that go through the planning area. NC bike route number 2, called Mountains to the Sea, traveling through Surry County, and NC bike route number 4, called North Line Trace, which travels through Yadkin and Davie counties. In the legend, you will see that the blue lines represent the adopted CTP designations. The light green represents both the adopted CTP and the draft Yadkin Valley Regional Bicycle Plan. The orange lines represent the draft Yadkin Valley Regional Bicycle Plan, and the darker green represents the multi-use path designation. Here is a better showing of bike route number 2, which starts in the mountain town of Murphy, traveling through the small towns of Footville and Courtney, which are in the planning area, which is also in Yadkin County, and finishes in the coastal town of Montijo and is over 700 miles long. As you can see, NC Bike Route number 4 starts in Piney Creek, traveling through Pilot Mountain, Ararat, Blackwater, Dobson, which are towns in Surrey County, and Salem, York, and finishes in the McKay Island National Wildlife Refuge, and it is about 400 miles long. Today, we will be featuring the existing and proposed bicycle recommendations for Davie County. These proposals are referenced from the current 2019 Davie County Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan, the 2011 Davie County CTP, the 2011 Moxville CTP, and the draft Yadkin Valley Regional Bicycle Plan. The town of Coolamy references the previously mentioned bicycle plans, and the same with Moxville. During the development of the current CTP, the following facilities were identified as recommended bicycle routes and will need improvement. In accordance with the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials, also known as AASHTO, the acronym AASHTO, roadways identified as bicycle routes shall incorporate the following standards as roadway improvements are made and funding is available. Curb and gutter sections require at minimum 5-foot bike lanes or 14-foot wide shoulder lanes. Shoulder sections require a minimum of 5-foot paved shoulder. All bridges along the roadways where bike facilities are recommended shall be equipped with 54-inch railings, at a minimum 42-inch. Continued proposed bicycle projects. In the full map of the regional CTP, there are 2 designations shown in the legend. The blue lines represent the current adopted CTP designations. The green lines represent the multi-use path designations. The thicker lines represent the proposed projects, and the thin lines represent existing sidewalks and multi-use paths. In Davie County, there are featured 2 municipalities, Moxville and Coolamy. The references for Moxville are from the 2019 Davie County Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan and the 2011 Moxville CTP. The town of Coolamy references are from the 2019 Davie County Bicycle and Pedestrian Plan and the 2011 Davie County CTP. Proposed pedestrian projects continued. A sidewalk project was incorporated into the pedestrian CTP map in the town of Moxville along US 601 from CJ's Barbecue to the Restaurant Shopping Center past Rollingwood Drive. Now, although the bicycle and pedestrian maps for CTP were previously separate, it was decided that the 2 modes of transportation are to be combined under one map, showing the relationship between them. I intentionally separated them so that during the CTP process, viewers can see the differences between bicycle and pedestrian recommendations and the difference between the current CTP and the draft Yadkin Valley Regional Bike Plan, and also where the recommendations are the same to eliminate confusion. Once the final plan has been approved, there will be just one map. Please see the provided contact information. Thank you for your participation. We are now open for questions and comments.
So at this point, we do not have any questions or comments submitted through email or through the chat function. This is a reminder that this presentation will be available for 30 days on the Northwest Piedmont RPO website, which was shown at the beginning of the presentation. We will accept questions the entire period through August 30th. And when those questions are presented, they will be answered and posted online for everyone to take in. Unless anyone has any questions that they'd like to speak up and ask at the moment.
Good afternoon. This is Luba. Just wanted to ask if the presentation will be posted online somewhere.
Yes, I'll post the presentation online on the Northwest Piedmont RPO website.
Great, thank you.
Hey Carter, this is Andy Bailey. I just wanted to say I kind of stole some of the idea for this presentation that we used from the Burlington Graham MPO presentation. So thank you, Luba.
Are there any other questions before we conclude the meeting? All right, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Wait, hold on. We got one. No. Guba says thank you. All right. Good night, everyone.
Thank you, Carter, for organizing and be the presenter of the presentation.
Thank you, Michael. You're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much.